Hey everybody, it's your boy Doc Williams, and today we're going to be talking about learning how to vibe code with Lovable. You're going to be learning about the platform. We're going to be talking about how you can create your own application for your own business or whatever you want to build. We have a special guest and a returning guest with us today. Talisha, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Hold on, let me get this. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Lovable. Before we get into this, could you tell the good people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So, my name is Talisha, and I am currently the community lead at Lovable. So, I manage our community and I give demos and I talk to a lot of cool people. But before that, I was just a community member. I built a Chrome extension called Lovify that helped people use Lovable better, especially with debugging. The Lovable team saw it and they were like, "Oh my gosh, would you like to come work at Lovable?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes."
That's wonderful. So, just because all of your hard work pays off, you get to be with a great team, and you guys are just releasing so many great things, and it's great to see it. That's wonderful. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to be using Lovable. We'll be talking about a few things about vibe coding, and then also too, I've got an idea that I want to build out, and we'll kind of go from there. So, could you give us like a 30,000 foot view about what Lovable is? Could you go that route for a second?
Yeah, of course. So, Lovable is an AI code generator that lets you take any idea and turn it into a full stack web app in a matter of minutes, right? So, any idea that you have, whether it's a job board or you want to create a habit tracker, etc., you can write a prompt, which is just a couple descriptive sentences, push the button, and then you'll have a full website or web app right before your eyes.
Great. And we're going to be seeing this in just a few minutes. Could you talk about what are some of your favorite projects maybe that you've built or you've seen in the community? Is there any ones that it just stands out and you really love?
Yes. So my definitely favorite project ever is one called Coopwise. And I think it's such a unique and special project because one is a project for people who are raising backyard chickens. So it helps you understand the health of your chickens, how much egg output, how the weather affects that egg output, etc. And the person who built it is someone who has no technical background, right? His fiance's mother raises backyard chickens and he wanted to help her out. So he built this entire app and this entire community around it. And I just think it goes to show you that anyone can build anything. Like, you don't have to be technical, you don't have to have a tech background. Like, he's a construction worker who just wants to build something cool for his friends and family. And now it's a whole business. So I think that's kind of like the poster child for what you can do with Lovable.
I love that. I love that. And has did they start building a community afterwards? What happened after they built the app and everything?
Yeah, so yeah, he's definitely building a community, a local community around his, we like to call it the chicken app, around his chicken app. He's still developing and learning how to make it better for people. He's even in talks with like big companies and to get grants and funding. So like he's really taking it really far. And it's so exciting to see.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is great. So we see real people, non-technical founders doing great things, impacting their community, and just going all out. I love it. Okay, so what I want to do first as we go into it, I think it would be really important, and actually we saw it in the chat. Could you first talk about like what vibe coding is? We hear it all the time. You see it a lot on X or Twitter. Could you kind of just talk about what's your take on vibe coding? How would you describe it?
Yeah, so I would describe vibe coding is as letting your ideas and your dreams take full form. So vibe coding was like initially coined by Andre Kaparthi, who's like the godfather of AI. And he basically described it as, like not looking at the code, not really having to understand what the code means, just letting the vibes take hold. And I think that's really cool because now whatever pops into your head, you can type it into a box, and then in a few seconds you have it, and you can just keep going with the flow. I always wonder like what people do when the AI is doing your job for you. Me personally, I go scroll on Twitter, but like I'm always curious what everybody else is doing when they're vibing. I know some people listen to music, some people have like the walking pad under their desk, and it's just like a really low stress, high frequency activity where you can just have fun and let your ideas take hold.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, as we think about what vibe coding is, that's a great, great description right there. We now know what Lovable is. Let's talk about a little bit. I think let's do it in this order. I think it would be great to talk about creating an MVP. Then we'll kind of go into more advanced features too. A lot of people ask about how to create. You mentioned talking about creating a Chrome extension. How could they create a Chrome extension? Maybe with Lovable, maybe with other tools, and then we go from there. How about that?
Yeah, I think that sounds perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I see a lot of people that want to get into this space and they want to know how to create a small project. I want to create a vibe coding toolkit where people could have different resources, maybe resources of different prompts that they could be using for their project. Maybe it could be different resources, different ways that they could be using like MCPs and things like that. That's my vision. Let's start with that and see how far we can build and go from there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm thinking about I'm thinking about just describing the idea here, or do you even think I should go to Chat GPT and kind of get create a product requirement doc first? What would you think I should do? Just start going into Lovable and start? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think there's like you can do it both ways. So if you are just wanting to vibe the entire thing, see where things go, then I definitely suggest just starting in the prompt box, kind of loosely describing it and let the AI do its thing. If you have more of like, I really wanted to have A, B, C, and D, then I would go over to Chat GPT, kind of get all of my ideas out, create a PRD, and then feed that PRD into Lovable just so it can make sure that like if I want a prompt library and I want a resources page and I want et cetera, that Lovable be sure to make it. So I think it's up to you. If you want to just take the vibes and
Let's do
see
it.
what Lovable comes up with, then we could just type it in the box.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just going to be using like voice to text, and so I'm just going to talk about it real quick. I want to create a vibe coding toolkit where people can have different resources, different prompts to create small projects or MVP for themselves or their business. All right. All right. So I have that. And let's just start from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, let's. All right. We're going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. And then could you go through this a little bit of what's happening when we're looking at this?
Yeah, so right now the AI Lovable is thinking about what you just ask it, and in a second here, you're going to start seeing that it's going to start saying stuff, and you're going to see a little box, and you can actually click on that box if you want to see the code being streamed in real time, which I always think is cool. So, see, as you can see now, it's saying things. So if you go over on the left side in the chat and you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you'll see a little box where it says writing. And if you click on that, you can see the code being streamed in real time. So you can see what Lovable is doing, which I think is really cool. And then also on this page, on your project page, you have a lot of cool little features and tidbits. Like you can attach images. If you want to copy those images or add them to like a logo or something, you have the chat mode, which allows you to talk to Lovable without making any edits. You have the visual editor for like if you want to change what text is written or the color or the padding and margin, make things smaller, bigger, etc. So you have a lot of tools like right here on your project page without having to go anywhere else, which I think is really cool.
I love it. I love it. For you, do you like kind of just seeing all of this working right here? And this is where you're just vibing right here. Do you listen to lo-fi? What do you do when or do you listen to any music when you're doing this?
No, because if I listen to music while I'm doing anything, I will break out into a full musical and get completely distracted and forget exactly what I was doing. So usually while like this is happening, what I'll usually do is like go scroll on like TikTok or Twitter.
I love it.
Luckily though, Lovable does have a little ding if you have your volume on to tell you to come back. It's done, which is
Really?
helpful. Yeah, it goes.
That's funny. I love that. I love that. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to wait for that for sure. Okay, so as we're doing this, it's building this Spark kit. What do you think as we're going? Oh, and we actually have a question. So I think we answered a lot of it, but let's just. By the way, Joe, thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear your take on vibe coding and Lovable and how to make it really work for small projects. We talked about it, for community or for, different passion projects. Could you kind of talk about like what's the smallest kind of project? Maybe it created like a calculator or something like that. And then what's like the biggest project that you've seen people use Lovable with?
Yeah, so for small projects, I actually make a whole bunch of them all the time. Um, like maybe I would say a month ago, I went to Europe on a trip and I made a lovable packing list for my trip because I was going in different climates. So, like, one of them was kind of warm and the other one was like cold with snow. And so, I wanted to make sure that I had like my hat, my coat, my sweater, but also like my swimsuit, my shorts, my flip flops. So I made just a little packing app where I could check things off. And then like I got my mom to help me pack and like have her read out the things while we checked it off. So you can make like really small just for you apps in like 10-15 minutes. I think it took me like 15 minutes to make it. And some of the largest projects I've seen people who have like 3, 5, 7,000 edits in a single project, which is wild. I've seen someone they created a entire like vibe video editing platform where you can generate like AI generated video and then you can like clip it and edit it and then like add sound effects and music and like it was crazy. It literally looked like an entire uh video editor that you would like buy from Adobe or something. Like it was wild. People make incredible crazy things with Lovable.
I love it. I love it so much. And if I'm let me know if I'm correct. Do you see a lot of this happening when people are supporting each other in the Lovable Discord? How does everyone do this? What do you see the best spots for people to connect and everything?
Yeah, so the Lovable Discord is definitely our official Lovable community where all of our staff, the founders, everybody is there, and you just never know who's gonna like pop up into the voice chat or in the general chat and say hi. So it is definitely a really great place to be to meet like a really big bulk of the community. But then a lot of stuff actually is starting to happen offline. People miss touching grass and seeing each other. So, I mean, I myself has been to lots of meetups all over the country and all over the world now. And, people like to talk about what they're building and what's working for them and the tips and tricks that they use to get to where they get to.
I love that. By the way, while you're talking about it, I did hear the little ding that come up. I almost got a heart attack. But yes, I have got to turn down the volume. But yes, it does do the sound effect right there.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I think meetups are really great for just seeing people. And no, I think it's great virtually, but seeing people and just chilling with people in real life, I don't think that ever gets old at all. Oh, okay. So what happened was I first got it was build unsuccessful. I got an error. So then I just asked it to fix it real quick. So it's thinking about that. And as that's going through, correct me if I'm wrong. Usually, when I see that, I usually look at briefly like what it's having trouble, and then I just ask it to fix it. And just like that, it fixed what I wanted. That's
L-
awesome. That's
Love it.
awesome. Okay. So while I'm here, how do you usually do this? Do you just open a preview tab and kind of go through that? Do you kind of look in the editor? What's your workflow when you're previewing the app and everything?
Yeah, so my workflow when I'm previewing the app is I will keep it here in the preview tab. Now, if you look at the top, kind of to the left of the circle, to the left of it, you can actually expand it. Oh, okay, my left, your right, the other way.
Let's this
That one.
one.
Yeah.
We
Um,
got it. We got it.
yeah, so you can like expand it and like hide the chat without having to open it in a new tab. So I'll look at that. I will go and click everything to like see all that it does. Because sometimes on the first generation, it will make like 15, 20 pages. I've seen it done before. It is wild. So I make sure to click things. So as you can see, it made a resources page. You can go and view the details about the resources, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that's super cool. And like that's the first thing that I do is I kind of see like where is that and then I kind of think of like, okay, what do I want to add next and where do I want to go from here?
Mm-hmm. This is great. This is great. And then when I believe there's going to be, and by the way, as we're watching this is live, make sure in the comment section down below, let us know, what are you trying to build? What questions do you have? This isn't all the time that we get someone from the Lovable team to be here. So all of these questions that I get in other videos in the chat, like, here's your opportunity. So this is great. Okay, so we're going through this, looking at all these different things, testing it out. What about, say, for instance, I'm looking at, okay, this looks great to me. What if I want to edit it? Is there a way to edit the text? What is the best way for that?
Yeah, so if you click on that view sidebar again, so we can go back to the chat. Okay, I would go to the home page. So
Homepage.
go back to your home page. Yep, exactly. And now click on edit down in the bottom left. Yes. And now you're going to want to just select on your preview whatever you want to edit.
Nice. Okay. So I can just go throughout all of this, see if I'm going to edit an image or the text or something like that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just change it. Better projects. I'm just going to say build better. Just going to say, I'll say side hustles right now. Something like that. Okay. And then I have options for color, alignment. Ooh, all of these details right here. Let's see. Put this here. Oh, thank you. Bobby saying dark mode. How do we add a dark mode? Oh, okay. That's a great question too. Thank you very much for that question. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, how do I add dark mode?
How do we add dark mode? The great thing about Lovable is that you can prompt really simple things. So we can literally just say, let's add dark mode. Now, I will, before we do that, if you're unsure, right, and you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure if I want to do that, like I'm scared I'm going to mess something up, you can actually go into chat mode. So you can click on chat mode and then you can say, how do I add dark mode? And it will explain
Ooh,
it give you a plan, which I think is also really cool. This is really helpful when your project has gotten kind of large and making a change like adding dark mode has to change like, 20 different pages and affects a lot of different things.
love it. Okay. So I just asked, how do I add dark mode? So yeah, that's a great question. So do you usually, once I create my first working MVP or what I'm looking for, that's when I kind of go into chat. That's, to really make sure I don't destroy things or go through. Okay.
Yeah, so as your project gets larger, chat mode becomes more and more valuable. But it's also valuable, like if you're trying to do something and you don't understand, or Lovable gives you, say it gives you SQL for if you did your database. So SQL is just the kind of coding language that Lovable writes so that you can have real data in your project. And one, if you don't know what SQL is or you don't understand what that SQL code means, you can put it in chat mode and you can say, hey, explain this to me like I'm 5. I don't understand it. And it will.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so right here I'm seeing it says, I'm happy to help you add dark mode to your project. Let me first check your current code base to understand how we can best implement this feature. So it talks about, I notice you've already have most of the setup for dark mode in place. I can see. Oh, so now, and then if I'm understanding this correctly, then while I'm going through this, it's already giving me the place where I could be looking or understanding to learn more right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's actually like going through your code file by file and looking for where is the best place to implement this. So if you scroll all of the way to the bottom, like it's telling you how to do it, but now there's this button that says implement the plan. So it's going to do everything it just talked about. And if you didn't like that, you can go back and say, oh, no, this doesn't look right. Actually, I want to do it like this. And it'll come up with a new plan. But I think that plan that we have now, I think that looks great.
Good times. Let me click implement this. Implement the plan. Okay. So this is as we're building this, and we were talking about all these different ideas of how we could be doing this. This idea came about of having this vibe toolkit or doing something like this. Are you familiar with something called AppSumo? Have you ever heard of
I
this
am. I
thing?
have heard of AppSumo with Noah Kagan. I think
Yep.
that's his.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And so a lot of people in the chat before in one of our episodes, they were mentioning like, hey, is it possible to create something with Lovable or using Superbase or using Windsurf to actually have an MVP that you could be launching on AppSumo, having it go to market and things like that. So this is kind of meta where we're looking at who would we serve, maybe ones in that audience. So yeah, this gives it more context and everything. So this is great. This is great. Bobby's saying, keep the restore button handy. Woo. Okay. Where's the restore button? Where should I look at this thing?
So the restore
Ooh,
button is gonna. Oh wow. Oh,
that
so
does
we
look
can
good.
test it by clicking on the little moon first and see if it toggles between dark and light mode properly. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's working. But if it didn't work, in your top on the left-hand side with the clock that's going round in a circle, that one, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can click view history. So you click on that, and then you can see all of the edits that you made. So you can click on one of them. So just click on a random one, click on the visual edit one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see that previous version we had, right? So
Nice.
if the dark mode didn't work and it was like all messed up and you're like, oh my gosh, don't panic. Okay, keep calm, don't panic. And you could just click on the version that you like and then click the big blue restore this version button. But we don't have to click that because it worked for us. So we can just click exit and keep on vibing.
Good times. Good times. I love it. I love it. I love it, Bobby. It's talking about one shot dark mode. That's nice. I agree. It was very nice. This is great. This is great. I really like this. And even the design in the background, I was not expecting that, but this looks really nice. This looks really
Yeah,
nice.
it does.
Okay. So what I'm thinking about, this looks really good. Let us know in the chat if you're trying to create something very specific. I know there was a lot of questions. We'll get to it. Some people were hitting me up and DMing about Chrome extensions and what they need to do. So we'll get there. We got you. Okay, so we have this right here. So we have the different ideas. Say, for instance, I want to add more resources. So this is what I'm thinking. I would probably need maybe an admin access for a person to add more resources. That way to add more to the site and everything. Because right now, I don't think I want everyone to add more resources. So I'd want probably a logged in person and then just mark them as admin versus just signed in. I think what I'm going to do is maybe go into chat and kind of talk about that's what I want to add What do you think about that?
Yeah, so we go in the chat and talk about what you want to add, and you can get a plan for that. But
Hmm.
what we want to add, I'm pretty sure we're going to need Superbase for that. So
Hmm.
Superbase is, your backend, it's your database, and it will do the managing of your users of those different resources and seeing if they're admin versus just a regular logged in user. So we can go ahead and ask chat now, or we can add Superbase and then ask chat. Okay, like I've added my Superbase, and this is how I want to, like, this is what I want to do with my Superbase. I want to add user authentication, and I want someone to be an admin, etc. Just like you said. So which
Let's
way do you
do it.
want to go?
Let's connect Superbase first.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
do that. So I clicked the little button. So first I clicked Superbase right here. It has Superbase right here, and it has my org right here. And then it asked me, do I want to create a new project? So I'm going to create a new project. First of all, let me see if I'm in another window. Am I already signed in? Really?
Yeah.
That's that. I didn't know that. Okay. Let's go with Vibe Toolkit. Let's do that. Let's go with that, and we're going to just go with a database password real quick. Let's go with I'm gonna copy this, okay, and create a project. All right, looks good. Looks good. All right, hold on one second. Let me put this over here. All my information. Let me do this. Okay, that's great. Life is good. Okay, so we have Vibe Toolkit right here. Now I'm going to click connect.
Yep. And then we're going to
This
have
is
to click connect one more time, and boom.
connected. Wonderful. That is so good.
Squeeze
And
me. Squeeze me.
I love this. And you know what? It just keeps getting easier and easier with Lovable. Even a couple months ago, like I had to think about it more, and now I'm just like, come back, couple clicks, and that's it.
Right, exactly. So if you scroll down, you can see that it connected to Superbase, and it's telling you all the different things you can do in Superbase. So now I think it's the perfect time to ask in chat mode that exact same question that you asked to me and the audience about having that admin and them only being able to add resources, etc., and like how we would do that.
Let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go here. I want to add a option to have a logged in users and to have admins. Only admins are going to be able to add more resources. I'm going to add one more thing. Also, I will need a button and a form to be able to add more resources. Okay. It's going to clean up all my bad grammar.
Which is really great because I never do. I'm like, you're just going to understand today because I'm not fixing it.
That's it. I see all those red lines. I'm like, I have to let me just click the buttons. Let me just change this. Okay, so it's working right here. And the goal, so let me give you as we're looking at this, this is what I'm thinking about. Let me as we have the time. Let me do this. Let me bring this up. So the idea came about was, I'm not sure if you've heard of this platform, but it was called Only Prompts, where it's a library of all different types of prompts for what you could be doing with your project. And so you can go for like marketing, research, all of those things. And then what I was thinking was similar to how this is focused on like a prompt library and for ones to do this for businesses, doing this same kind of thing for vibe coding. So that was the idea. Very, it already exists in a way, but this is really focused on on business, and so I'd be building basically a similar version just for vibe coding. That's where the idea came about.
Interesting. That's so cool.
Let's see. So right here, what we're seeing right here, it is telling us what I need to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. So it was talking about database setup, authentication pages, admin role, resource creation form, update existing components, migrate existing resources.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's do this. And then Bobby's saying, show how to do auth. Okay. I will. We will. The whole audience. We're doing this together. So
We're all in
this
this
is really
together.
good. Let's see. Okay, so it's working right here. And what I'm thinking about, okay, it's working. I saw another platform the other day. I've got to think about it. It was more for automation, but while basically it was writing the code, a little pop-up came up and you could play like a little game. It almost looked like a Game Boy game
Oh,
during
cool.
it. I thought that was, I've got to find what platform that is again. I thought that was really unique. Of course, I was terrible at the game, but
I think I've seen that too. Where like while you wait, you get to play a little.
Okay, so it's saying, please review the SQL migration to set up all the necessary database tables for user authentication, admin roles, and resources. Once you approve, I'll implement the code. Yeah, so yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's just vibe coding. However, if you're building a big project, you should definitely read your SQL and make sure you understand it.
That
But
is
we're
a
just
good thing.
vibing here, so it's okay. It's fine.
I love that. I love that. And so as we're working on this, we're seeing a lot of new changes for Lovable, all these new added features. Are there any features that have just come out that you really like, or anything like coming soon that we should think about, or anything that you're excited about?
Yeah, so one of our like biggest newest features is kind of like that vibe multiplayer mode where you can invite someone to your project. So up in the top right corner there's the invite button, and you can literally just like invite me to come join you in this project, and I can also prompt alongside you. So I can submit things like, oh, I want to make the logo like this, or I want to add a prompts page, which I think is super cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell me about a prompts page. Tell me more.
If you want, no, like if we wanted to add a prompts page.
Okay, I was gonna say, wait a minute, wait a minute. Love it.
But
Let's
maybe
see.
we're getting a prompts page soon, Who
Oh, I
knows?
love it. I love
Wink,
it.
wink.
There is, if you want to try out Lovable, there's going to be a link down below too in the chat. Make sure that you just start and try this out. That's the whole point of this. This is really for you, step by step, for you to start thinking about creating and being creative in general of what you can be doing. So this is great. Okay, coming along. Add changes. I fixed the SQL migration by using, okay.
More vibing, which means I guess we should have read the first one because something was wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. We'll just keep clicking the button. It's only
For
like
now.
pages. Yeah, it's not gonna
For
hurt.
now. It's nothing crazy. Nothing
Nothing
crazy.
crazy.
Bobby's talking about add some images too. Ooh.
Oh, I want to show you a really cool way to add images that I didn't even know you could do. Okay. I
Nice.
just found this out and it's super cool. So after Lovable gets done, I'll show you how to add an image using the edit mode.
Okay. 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 Good times. Good times. Now where, okay, no. I'll wait for my question after we get there. After we get there, it will be okay. Okay. So this is going on, and we're thinking about this. What are some of the most common questions that you get with Lovable? Is it people feeling like they get stuck and they're wondering like secret passwords or passcodes of like how do I get unstuck? Or maybe it's, hey, I don't even know where to begin. What are the most common questions that you get in the Discord and just in general?
Yeah, so definitely the most common question I get is definitely how to get unstuck, how to debug, because a lot of times people get way too far listening to the vibes, and now they're at a project that's like 400 edits in, and they have vibe coded off a cliff, as I like to say. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even click any of my buttons anymore. Like, Talisha, what do I do? Like, how do I get back to what I need to get back to? And in that situation, one, you probably need to start over because you probably just clicked too much things. And you should probably start over and like do it right. My favorite metaphor for this is if you hired someone to build a house, you wouldn't just tell them, build me a house and expect to have your dream house when it's done. You would have a blueprint, you would have meetings, they would do mock-ups, you would walk through the house every time they build something, they put in the kitchen, you're going to walk through the kitchen and make sure it's the right flooring, it's the right appliances were ordered. You wouldn't just be like, yeah, that's fine, until you get to the point where now your kitchen door opens to the bathroom somehow, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? So you always want to make sure that you're planning, that you're thinking things through when you want to do a large project. And if you do get stuck, you can use the histories and go back and restore to a previous version where it worked. You can do my favorite method, which is called rubber ducking, where you tell it what's going wrong, how it should be, and then tell it to rubber duck itself, which makes it think step by step through the code and the process that it's currently doing so that it can do the right thing instead of the wrong thing.
I love that. I love that. And I like how you just mentioned that. I like the analogy, building a house and everything. That makes a lot of sense. Could you give an example of like, okay, once they started thinking about that step by step, would that be an example of not having all the features at once, like planning one feature at a time for their project and then adding along the way, something like that?
Yeah, exactly. You want to do kind of one full feature top to bottom at a time. Like you want to build one room of your house at a time. Make sure that everything's working in that room, the lights are on, the water is running before you try to move on to other rooms in your house or other features in your project. So you want to go over, and like I said, I just click on everything. I click all the buttons, I go through all the workflows, and if something doesn't work, I kind of write it down. I'm like, okay, this button doesn't work, okay, this doesn't work. And then I'll go back to Lovable and tell it like all of the things like, okay, these things don't work. How can we fix this before moving on?
I love it. I love that. Um, right here, and this is great. It first had an error for a second. Okay, so it asked me to do some things, which is fine. It says try to fix it. Hold on one second.
Fine.
um, and then I think it was just about to ask me to try to sign in, create a new account, go through that. Okay, cool. We will try that in 1 second. It's working on this error, and then we'll talk. Okay, so as this is working right here, let's talk about the next question that we get a lot on this channel. People wanting to create Chrome extensions.
Yeah. So if you want to make a Chrome extension, there's several ways to do it. I know some people who have made the entire extension in Lovable and then they bundled it outside of Lovable to be able to fit the requirements for the Google Chrome store, because you can take because it's just TypeScript, right? It's just JavaScript, TypeScript is how you make a Chrome extension, you can build it in Lovable, download that code by connecting to GitHub, and then bundle that code up with the information needed for a Chrome extension, which you'll have to have something called a manifest.json and then a context.js. But then everything else you can kind of just stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
The way I built my Chrome extension is that I built all of the backend functionality and the landing page with Lovable. So everything that my Chrome extension did, like it had a prompt enhancer, it had a prompt library, it performed web search, etc. All of that functionality was built with Lovable using Superbase edge functions. And then I would
Mm.
just have Lovable give me like the URL for that edge function. And then I went over to Cursor to build the actual kind of packages that Google Chrome expects for your Chrome extension.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That is, and so how did you? I can only imagine you and the community worked on this very hard. How did you get the help? Were you just asking? Did you use Claude to kind of go through what did you need to do? Because right off of what you just said was gold. That probably saved someone 60 hours of research just there, and we will snip that because that is wonderful. How did you go about getting the support? Did you just keep diving in, looking at like, was it trial and error? Did you have the help of the community? Did you do research? All of the above? How did you were you able to be successful with that?
Yeah, so I vibe coded my Chrome extension right off a cliff. Just whew. And then luckily the community came in to help, specifically Bobby, who is in the chat. He came and he helped, and he refactored my code, because one thing you should never do is have a file that is 15,000 lines of code long. But I did, because I wasn't reading and I was just clicking the okay, okay, okay
Mhm.
button. But then Bobby came in and he kind of did some best practices to get that Chrome extension to where it needed to be so that we could launch. So very thankful for that. And also the community in general played a really big role with giving us feedback and direction and kind of helping us build out the platform in the way that we wanted it to be, which was really cool.
That's
So don't do what
awesome.
I did. Don't have a 15,000 line file, because it's
I
not going
love
to work.
it. Well, this is it's good. It's good to know and all those things. Let's see. As we're talking, I'm just signing up and seeing if this works right here. All right. Let's see what we did. Okay. So we signed up for a moment. Now let's see if we can sign in.
You are not going to be able to sign in because you have to do one step that is very annoying. It's not a lovable thing, it's a Superbase thing.
Ooh. Okay.
Mhm.
What do I have to do?
We have to turn off email verification. Now,
Uh,
when you do launch your app to the public, you're going to want that email verification so that you don't have spam. But while you're developing, it is super annoying to have to always go check your email and then try to like come back to the Lovable project. It's like a
mhm.
lot of hassle. So we're just going to turn it off. And to
Gotcha.
do that, you're going to hover over the left hand side there so that it so that the exactly click on authentication. And now in the left hand side where it says configuration, you see sign in slash providers. We're going to click on that. And now we're going to scroll down a little to auth providers. Click on email. We see it's enabled. And we're going to toggle off that confirm email. So we're just going to toggle that off and click save.
Good times.
Good times. So now something that you shouldn't do, but we're going to do it to make it easier. You're going to want to click on manage users on,
Manage.
on the left hand side there under authentication,
There we go.
manage users. Yep. And you're going to want to delete yourself and
Hmm.
sign up again. So don't do this in normal circumstances. you should go and turn off the confirm email first so you don't have to do this. But since we already did it, so now you're going to sign up again. And it's either so you just click sign up since you're already in there.
There we go. Let me do this.
Bloop, dee bloop, and boom.
There we go.
We're successfully signed up. So let's click on our little user icon to see if we're in there. Yeah, there
We're
we are.
in.
Boom.
We're in. We're in.
Easy,
We're in.
easy, lemon squeezy.
I love that.
So when you're doing authentication in Lovable with Superbase, number one, when you're working in this development environment, so you're just testing things, you're going to want to turn off that confirm email. Because if you don't, you're going to have to do extra steps so that you can use your authentication. And this is where a lot of people mess up because they're like, oh my gosh, my authentication's not working. And then they try to do all these other things. But honestly, just turn off the confirm email. It will save you a lot of headaches. Number two, if you add third party authentication, like you want to sign in with Google, for instance, it will not work inside of this Lovable preview because of security reasons. So it's basically like an embed inside Lovable. And so other companies like Google or Facebook, etc., they won't allow their tokens to be sent through this because that's what a lot of like spammers do that make like phishing websites, right? So you're going to have to click on that arrow that pops you out into a new tab to be able to test those third party authentications. So it's likely that your sign in with Google is working, but you just have to pop that bad boy out so that you can have the proper security like permissions.
That's wonderful.
No, we're not
Hey.
doing Google login. Sorry.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, two quick questions, real quick. So, Mr. Hackathon, thank you so much for jumping in. The question that he says is, I want to make a lovable extension that tracks all the features that's being added by vibe coding. Huh. Okay. Okay. What do you think about that idea? Do you think that's possible? Do you like that idea? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's super cool, and I think it's definitely something you can do on Lovable. You would definitely have to use like something else like Cursor or Windsor, but in order to do that, I would probably it would be a little complicated. There's like kind of two ways you could do it. The way that would like for sure keep track of it would be to connect to GitHub, which I see you over there clicking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so connect to GitHub and then in your Chrome extension, have like all of the edits that you make, write little AI generated feature flags, feature sentences, feature checkboxes, features.
those things.
Features. So they will like check it off as the commits come in. I think that would be super easy. That's probably the way I would do it. If you want to make it simpler, I would just have where on your okay, that's a good idea too. Or on your Chrome extension, you just have like Bobby saying, like a little markdown file that it just kind of checks off as it does stuff. And sometimes you have to remind it. You can also use knowledge within Lovable to have like all of your steps. And then you can tell it like, okay, what step are we on? What have you done? What needs to be done?
I love that. Great. Thank you so much. And right here, what I just did, I connected it to my GitHub account right here. Do you see a lot of times when people are, so could we kind of talk about this? What does transfer project mean? What would this be right here? Why would someone use this with GitHub? Could we talk
Yeah,
about that?
so the transfer project is actually the way you connect to GitHub now. So right now, your code is not on GitHub. You just connected your account to Lovable. So if you want your code to be stored and saved on GitHub itself, you'll have to click the transfer project button and then you select your organization, that right there. And then in a second, you'll see that it will say connected, and you'll see how you can clone it. So if you want to take it to Cursor, you literally just copy that. When you get into like Cursor, you click the clone your project button, and then you just paste what you just copied, and then boom, done.
I love that. I love that. Okay. This is great. This is great. All right. Let us know in the chat. Great stuff. Okay, Mr. Hackathon is talking about might be good. Kind of want to monetize it though. Okay. Okay. Have you, so let's talk about that for a second. Have you seen where people have, how do you monetize? Have you seen where people have monetized different Chrome extensions and gone through the process with that as well?
Yeah, so you can definitely monetize a Chrome extension the same way you would monetize your web app. My suggestion though is to not put the checkout inside of the Chrome extension itself, but inside of a web app. So like you would go into your mychromeextension.com website, the person would log in and sign up there, pay their money on that site, and then you would just have like this user is paid so that when you log into your Chrome extension that it's already there. Because if you put the payment inside of the Chrome extension, Google asks for a lot of information. Like you have to like take a picture of your driver's license, and like an address has to be listed on the Google Chrome listing, and you have to like list your phone number, and it's like a lot. So I wouldn't do that unless you have like a business address and a business phone number that's not your home address, and you have like some mail with that business address on it when they verify it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I don't like that.
Yeah, me either. I'm like that's a lot.
Yeah, that's too much. What we just did, we just dropped in the link again for Lovable to try it out. And as we're wrapping up, what we're going to do is make sure if you like these kind of videos, if you want us to do more in-depth topics or different functionality or what they're going to be doing, let us know in the chat down below. This would be perfect. Talisha, just a few more questions and we'll wrap up. And make sure, of course, if you like this, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We do this every single week. As we're going through this, could you talk about some of the different ways people are making money? Say, for example, maybe they are doing subscription for micro MVP. Maybe they're a freelancer. We're seeing a lot of people building out MVPs for people using Lovable. Could you kind of, what do you see in the community where people are making this a viable thing for themselves and the business?
Yeah, so I've definitely seen people who've made micro SaaSes and have gotten paying customers. One is called Bluemint AI. It is kind of like a PRD generator where it kind of makes plans for you. And he has paying subscribers, and it was completely built on Lovable, which is really cool. There are a lot of MVP agencies where people are building projects for other people using Lovable. And these are like all over the world, which I think is really cool. And then I've seen people build actual startups on Lovable. I know someone built a startup that is like a perplexity for fashion, and they raised $500,000. Someone else built a startup that's like resources for warehouse, something very boring industry. Listen, they probably could explain what it is better than I could, but they raised $1.2 million. I know someone who got into a pre-accelerator called Founder University with their MVP completely built on Lovable. So like you can really do anything from your micro SaaS, charging $10, $15 to an agency charging $2, $3, $5,000 per project to raising literally $1 million for a startup, all completely built and Lovable.
I love that. I love that. So let us know in the chat. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to build an MVP? Are you trying to do a startup? Are you trying to build an agency and start building out different projects? We'd love to hear it. Also, Bobby in the chat is talking about this as a possible thing in the future, how to use Cursor with Lovable. Okay, we can put that on the list. We can put that on the list. And also, too, I wonder, we're seeing a lot of people ask the difference. I guess, what, did Windsurf just get bought by?
OpenAI
Yeah,
for
yeah,
$3
yeah.
billion. Dollars.
Yeah, that's pretty
Crazy.
crazy. Like, when did Windsurf come out? Like November or something?
Well,
That's
they're the company that makes windsurf. I think it's called Codium. They've
ah
been
yes,
around for a while, but the
that's right.
product windsurf itself, yeah, after they pivoted, it was like October, November kind of.
Yeah,
They like were like, there's a really cool YouTube video on the YC page with the founder of Windsurf where he explains the pivot, which is just really cool because he was like, we're betting everything on this. Like we're
that's
going all
unreal.
in, and they like shipped it in like a week or something, which is just wild.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Also, too, I'm seeing some bias in the chat right here, but that's okay. No, but this is really good. We're going to be trying it out. I think this is going to be great. If people like these videos, if you want to see more resources like this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about different ways to use this and going from there. So, everyone, again, thank you everyone for watching and being here. Talisha, thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
your time and energy. We would love to have you again. And to everyone, happy building, happy vibe coding, and we'll see you all in the next. Ooh, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Lovable sticker.
I love that. I need one of those. I need one of
Yes,
those.
I gotta send you one.
Ooh, nice, 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 nice. Okay, all right, everybody. We'll see you later, and thank you so much for being on the stream.
Bye.